Hello guys, welcome to i-tutor Academy. In today's session, we will start with Unit 15 of MMBC 004, that is Human Resource Accounting. So let's begin with the objectives of this chapter. So first of all, we will understand the concept of human resource accounting and understand the various developments which led to the focus on HR accountability, know about the various similar concepts and techniques and explain the different human resource accounting models. And structure of these chapters are: there is an introduction part first of all, and approaches to human resource accountability, human resource accounting as management decision tool. Under this, investment decision, human resource planning, performance management system are there. And next is human resource accounting measurement models, and under this there is an original cost approach, replacement cost approach, opportunity cost model, standard cost models are there, and methods based on value and summary of this chapter are there, and self assessment questions also. So let's begin with the introduction part. During the past few decades, the composition of the gross national product of the major global economies has been changing from manufacturing to service. This trend started after the end of World War II in 1945. This trend started with USA and later on spread to Europe and Japan. In recent years, this trend is also visible in India, where services contribute to a significant portion of GDP. From the beginning of the 20th century, there was a continuous effort to develop evaluation strategies for the human resource investment by the firm. In other words, there is an increasing demand for accountability regarding the value creation by the human resource function. The management is interested to see a link between HR programs and the company's bottom line, and managers in general believe that investing in people and providing appropriate HR in intervention initiatives and solution can result in a high and sustainable bottom line over a medium horizon. But the problem is that there is no direct link between the bottom line and HR function. This problem partly arises from the fact that HR investments are treated as revenue expenditure rather than as capital expenditure. More of this, we discuss human resource accounting in the absence of any direct correlation between HR interventions and the bottom line and lack of measurement of benefit of HR intervention. It becomes difficult for managers to decide for which program to invest, how much to invest, and whether a particular program adds value or not. And in a nutshell, the increasing accountability demand from the HR department for the resource they demand and consume led to the revolution of various techniques to measure and evaluate the contribution of HR department towards the profit of the organization. Now, when we are discussing accountability, let us briefly discussing the major development that have led to a increased focus on accountability. All these developments are somehow or the other related to the return generated by the HR function. The triple bottom line and best place to work or employees of choice. In triple bottom line, traditionally the success of commercial enterprises is measured by the profit they make, ignoring the fact that the current business operations may have a negative impact on the environment, health of society, social well-being, future financial success, and resilience of the enterprises. And the best place to work or employers of choice. Since 1990, several business publications are coming out with a list of companies preferred by employers, both newly recruited and serving ones. Many organizations strive to be on this list so that they can retain existing valuable employees and attract new talent. And HR investment and macro level studies. Macro level studies have been undertaken to establish the link between HR investment and profitability or productivity. However, these studies have failed to establish a significant relationship between HR investment and profitability, and also failed to demonstrate a cause and effect relationship. An example also there, you just refer. And human capital management focus, the rise of high tech industries and the shift of economic activities from agriculture and manufacturing to the service sector have put the focus on human capital management. In the early development, the focus was on HR accounting, where an attempt was made to account for the value of human resource in the traditional financial reporting framework. Next is accountability demand from management. As the demand for resource is often competitive among the various division, the management often demands to show the value creation potential for the resources demanded and consumed by the division, and in the absence of value creation, the particular division may face budget cut. This problem is more acute in the human resource department, as the outcome of their effort is in the form of intangible, which by their very nature are difficult to quantify and measure. And HR disasters. HR department is an essential unit of modern firms and organization, and its role is much more amplified in times of brewing crisis and crisis. And HR technology in general has changed the way an organization functions and operates. With the advent of cost effective technology, many HR function like compensation and prerequisites administration, payroll management, employee record keeping, some part of recruiting process, training and orientation have been automated. On the positive side, HR technologies have enabled HR department to collect massive amount of employee and performance data, which is organized, integrated, analyzed and reported in a meaningful way. This enables the HR department to measure the impact of HR interventions. And next part is approaches to human resource accountability. Since the early 60s, there has been growing focus on measurement and evaluation of human resource function, and these approaches have changed with the time. In order to evaluate the contribution of human resource function in enterprise performance, human resource function must be measured and evaluated, but choosing the suitable parameters and approach is a significant challenge. And HR management by objective, that is MPO. As per this technique, the HR department develops specific objectives. These objectives are developed based on the expectation of management regarding target of various functional parameters. These targets are perceived to be necessary to achieve an adequate level of performance. An employee attitude survey. This technique is used to evaluate the effectiveness of the HR department. It is used to understand the link between employees' attitude and organizational performance. And the advancement of this technique is Human Resources Index, that is HRI, through which the organization compare their progress over time and with the other organization. This technique of HRI has been used by Flower Group, which consists of 30 companies, some notable members being IBX, Xerox, and General Electric, etc. And HR reputation. HR functions are designed to serve the various constituents of the organization. One of the way in which the effectiveness of the HR function can be evaluated is through the feedback of the constituents. Okay. The important factors as perceived by the constituent while judging HR function effectiveness are open communication channel, transparent high performance standard, remuneration and reward based on performance, effective use of employee skill and abilities, employee participation in work decision, advancement opportunities, identification and development of high potential managers, and satisfaction of the constituent is an important parameter, but empirically there is little evidence to suggest a relationship between constituents satisfaction and organizational performance. HR auditing. An audit is an investigating analytic and a comparative exercise to gauge the effectiveness of the methods and process involved in accomplishing a particular task. HR audit is undertaken to measure the effectiveness of the HR function. HR audit involves a systematic search leading to the gathering, compiling, and analyzing data for a specified period of time. And HR audit is an analytic tool that bring out how well or poorly HR practices and processes are implemented. These exercises provide baseline data which is used to assess the effectiveness of HR function. And HR case studies are here. Another approach to measure and evaluate impact of HR programs interventions is the case study approach. In this approach, the success of standard alone programs, policies, practices, or HR interventions is examined, evaluated, and documented. These results are presented to selected audience and key managers. And HR cost monitoring. HR managers generally use salary and perquisite expenses as HR cost, but there is a lack of understanding of How a change in HR practices can lead to a change in the cost structure of human resources. One approach to evaluating HR performance with reference to cost is to develop cost standard and compare them with the actual cost incurred. So here is a table is here. Typical HR costs are here. So you just verify this table. It will help you for your more understanding. And competitive benchmarking as understood in common parlance measure the key indicators of one's own organization and compares it with the organization which is performing ideal best in the industry. And key indicators are the measures that reflect the major effort of the HR department. Some of these measures are linked to the organizational performance. Key indicators include set of quantitative measures such as accident rate, absenteeism, turnover, the average time to recruit, etc. So the various key indicators of the HR department is here in this table. I will just verify that also. And three measures are for the studies identified. The three measures reflecting HR department contributions are productivity as reflected in the cost, quality as reflected in repair rate, and employee relation as reflected in absenteeism and suggestions. And HR effectiveness index. HR effectiveness index is a single composite index whose constituents are various HR variables that impact organizational performance. And the basic principle governing the construction of HR effectiveness index is to combine various variables receiving different weights according to their significance in organizational performance. One of the first example of such an index is employee relation index, that is ERI, and another HREI is the human resource performance index, HRPX. Okay, these are the examples. And sophisticated HR practice linked to FAME performance are employment test for selection, formal performance appraisal, appraisals linked to compensation, participation in variable pay or company incentives plans, and formal job analysis, non-entry jobs filled from inside the organization, access to a formal grievance procedure, a formal information sharing program, an attitude survey, and some form of labor management corporation. And next is HR profit center. A profit center is a division of a company that independently adds or is expected to add to the bottom line of the company. It is treated as a separate standalone business responsible for its expense. Precise evaluation of the contribution of HR department on the bottom line can be done when HR department is treated as profit center. Okay, and when HR department operates as a profit center, it establishes competitive rates for the service it provides to the various another other departments of the organization, and these departments are changed for the service which they consume. Further, the outside fame can also compete with the internal HR department to provide these services. And if services are priced on a competitive basis, the profit generated by offering these services is the financial return on the investment allocated to the HR department. Some of the organizations that are operating the HR department as a profit center and allowing HR department to sell services to the outside organization include DuPont, General Motors, and Xerox. And HR department as a profit center is an evolving concept and is a significant departure from the traditional HR management practice. The concept of charging the user department for services may face resistance from the user departments, and HR data is strategic in nature, and the organization may not be wary of sharing the same with the outside fame. In view of this, it is challenging to implement this concept in many organizations. And this is about today's session. And next session of unit 15 that we will discuss on next video. In between any doubts, you can contact us. And for more IGNOU MBA videos, you just do like, share, and subscribe our channel. Thank you so much for your support.
i-tutor ES presents IGNOU MBA, complete syllabus coverage classes and individual semester base, subject coverage program for MBA students online and flexible sessions. For more details, contact 62382 17885.